friends, and we're back at it with another one. We're just going to let a couple people join up. So while I wait for some people to join up, I'm going to go over some things. Uh, I was thinking about some points too. What's up? What's up? Uh, wow. That right there in itself. Okay, let's talk about it. Oh, damn. What do you think about Floyd? You should fight Tank and call him a PD cheat. What do I think about? What's up, L? What do I think about Floyd Mayweather talking about a possible fight between Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue? What do I think about that? All right, listen. You gotta really think about what's been going on with Tank Davis. And I have Tank Davis on my pound for pound list, right? But you know, Tank Davis, throughout his career, he's fought some pretty good Mexican fighters. And the beginning of his career, the top last part of Tank Davis's career. Let's talk about his last three fights, right? He fought both Garcias, Ryan Garcia and Hector Garcia, right? And then who was the third guy that Tank Davis fought there? Who was his third fight? I think it was Isaac Pitbull Cruz was the last guy, right? Okay. Anyway, my point is this. This is my point. Tank is 29 years old. And Tank's, yeah, Cruz, right. Tank is 29 years old. And throughout his entire career, he's only won one belt at 130 pounds. One real world title. He won an interim title at 135, and he won another interim title at 140. Right? Okay. So, do you really think that he's fought the type of quality of fighter that Naoya Inoue is? You know, these guys can talk about a fight about Tank Davis and Naoya Inoue. Listen, Tank Davis, little plumpy ass, right? Listen, he's a great fighter, a knockout artist, king. But if I was to say if that fight would be possible, it would have to be at 130 for one. Tank Davis would have to come down, okay? I'm not sure where Tank Davis is headed, but I know that Devin Haney signed to fight Regis Prograis at 140. Shall he be successful, he may vacate those belts. Tank is going to want a piece of those belts. If not, fight the guys at 130 for the belts. Eventually, Tank Davis is going to have to fight Lomachenko. At some point in his career, I mean, Tank Davis and Lomachenko been there. Now, let's just think about this, too. As Tank Davis as a fighter and what he's, you know, if they're talking all this rah-rah about Tank Davis going to fight the #1 fighter in the world, Naoya Inoue, well, then let's see what he's been about, right? I'm just talking about what he's actually done, okay? And let's just examine that, right? Look, Tank Davis, he's only amounted to one world title. He's got one real world title at 130. That's it. Naoya Inoue is well, how many? He has 26 belts, some shit like that, right? And the problem that I have with that was this. When I say I want to look at Tank Davis's career, this is what I mean. Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Lomachenko, They all came up together. They all came up at the exact same time. And Devin Haney dared to be great early in his career. He went after the belts. He even went after Lomachenko. And remember when they were calling him the email champion? It's because he punked Lomachenko for his belt. Lomachenko said, fuck that, I got a fight scheduled with Teofimo Lopez. So Devin Haney went that route. And you see, the reason why I'm saying this is because Tank Davis has been in the game with all these dudes from the get. And throughout his entire career, he's 29 years old, and he's only captured one belt. Whose fault is that? Management? Did they say that he wanted to, like, you know, say, oh, listen, belts don't mean shit. It's all about the money. Fight the Garciases and get all the Nova. I see where you want to go with that. Floyd did the same thing, right? Cool. I'm cool with that. But right now is when I think Tank Davis needs to show the world. He needs to start making some power moves. He needs to start showing the world that he's that dude. He's Tank Davis, and that he's got all the skill. He's got all the power. It's just the people he chose to fight. And that's what I'm talking about. Is his level of competition. Then all of a sudden, this Japanese kid starts winning, getting a little notoriety, and they're just attaching their name to him. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these dudes you're going to see, they're going to be clout chasing, right? And let me keep it 100. As a boxer standpoint, Tank Davis respects Naoya Inoue's fight game. You know what I'm saying? Tank Davis is like, he's been on tape, on video, showing him, be like, yo, that nigga's nice. So they respect each other. And Naoya Inoue say Tank Davis is a great fighter too. You know what I'm saying? So they do, but all of a sudden, Naoya Inoue wins the biggest fight up to date in his career, and now everybody's attaching their name to him. They're like, yeah, oh, Tank will fight him. Boom, attach his name to him. You know what I'm saying? And look, didn't I tell you guys, no sooner than Naoya Inoue beat Stephen Kubo Fulton, they were going to say, oh, Stephen Kubo Fulton was nobody. They're going to say, yeah, oh, he was good, but he wasn't that good. Bro, that's not what they were screaming leading up into the fight. They were screaming, oh, this is Naoya Inoue's kryptonite. He's never even sparred with a black American fighter. That this right here, the slick style, is going to overwhelm him. And we're going to beat him. You know what I'm saying? But that couldn't have been further from what happened. The truth. And I shared this on one of my previous videos. If I had to be honest and do my assessment on what happened in the Naoya Inoue fight and what happened in the Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. fight, right? Let's talk about it, right? Errol Spence Jr. came into that fight on paper. I know on advertisement, like when they were talking to him on media and when ESPN was talking about them, ESPN is probably not going to come out and just tell the world this. But it's not like it was a secret. You could have went on in any time during that fight, went on Boxing Record and looked it up just like I did, right? And leading into the Terrence Crawford fight, Errol Spence Jr. was registered by the Boxing Association an inactive fighter. He was coming off a 2-year hiatus. So on paper, what's going to go down in history books in the Hall of Fame, he entered that fight an inactive fighter. Naoya Inoue fought the number one guy, right? He fought the number one guy. And not only did he fight the number one guy, right? Check this out. Crawford went up to 147 when he vacated his belts at 140. He was in 147 for over 2 years chasing Errol Spence Jr. He had multiple fights at 147, and he got acclimated to the division. So he was already used to fighting guys 147 pounds. Naoya Inoue moved up a weight division, didn't get no tune-up fight, and fought the number one guy. No tune-up fight. No acclimated to the division. He didn't say, I need to warm up or whatever. No, nothing. He went up and fought the number one guy, where that Terrence Crawford came into 147. For God's sake, he won the WBO at 147. And he continued to fight. And he had multiple fights at 147. You see, there's a difference. Naoya Inoue walked up and said, I want the baddest motherfucker at 122. Who is it? You? Let's go. Me and you outside. He was on some shit. No tune-up fight. I don't... Listen, they say, yo, Naoya Inoue, you're going to vacate your belts. This is management. You know, why don't we get a little tune-up fight to get acclimated at 120? Naoya looked at him and said, no tune-up fight. Champion. Champion. I want champion. Right? Yo, listen. Then... another comparison that I had to assess, and I had to be honest with myself, and I asked myself, well then, in comparison, how were the fights? Right? He went at the top dog. Yes, he did. He went at the top dog, Lou. Look, like, okay, look, if I had to assess the fight as competitive, yo, tell me if I'm lying, right? When I was watching the Stephen Kubo Fulton Naoya Inoue fight, yo, that fight was competitive. Even though Stephen Kubo Fulton was losing every round, he was in the fight. Yo, and he even snapped Naoya's head back a couple times and gave us a few ahs. Yo, Stephen Kubo Fulton tried, bro. He made the fight competitive, bro. Yo, he was working his jab, everything. You could see it in his face. Naoya Inoue took away his confidence in like the second round. He knew at that point, bro, I was in over my head, right? So you can see, but Stephen Kubo Fulton was always in the fight. Tell me if I'm lying. By the third round, you started feeling bad for Errol Spence Jr., didn't you? I did. Yo, I started feeling bad for him, bro. It was like I wanted to jump in the ring and fight for him. Like, nigga, back up! Get off him! You know what I mean? Yeah, Terrence Crawford, you're beating the brakes off him. Stop this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was, like, you know, at some point in the fight, I was saying, yo, they might need to have to stop this shit, bro. The fight wasn't even entertaining anymore. Terrence Crawford was just whooping his ass. Bro, did you see that shot he hit him with? It looked like he sunned him. He was like, go to your room. Ow, nigga. And Errol Spence Jr. flew across the ring. You know, the fight wasn't as competitive as what I'm saying in nature. Where that Naoya Inoue and Stephen Kubo Fulton was always in the fight, bro. You know, he was fighting Naoya Inoue back. Is that Naoya was shutting him down, bro. Every time Fulton did something, you know, and I called it too. And I said it. Naoya Inoue, and this was another factor that I factor in, right? That, what's up, Luis? His butter. Yeah, well... They all are. And they're going to attach their name to a Naoya anyway. They're going to take whatever fighter they have, you know, because he's got some steam. And Naoya Inoue is going in star status, you know. And to keep Tank's name relevant in boxing, the parties that be will do this. You know, they'll start to make up fantasy fights. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. Like, who would win out of Naoya Inoue and Tank? You know what I'm saying? Then they got us talking about it, right? Just because Tank's going through some shit. This nigga just got out of jail. They talking about his girl did this and they're saying that that's a lie. You know, it's obviously he got a lot of shit going on around him right now. And Tank Davis really needs to, like, really lock down his situation. And for being in boxing this long, that's what I'm saying. This nigga's 29 years old, Tank Davis. And then we was going on paper, bro, my man, he only won one belt at 130 pounds. The other two belts are interim belts. They'll acknowledge those, but you know, it's not like Tank Davis can retire today and he'll walk into the Hall of Fame with one belt. The alarms will start going off. Bam, 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 bam. Yo, back the fuck up. You don't meet the requirement. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I love me some Tank Davis, nigga, but this nigga gotta step it up, bro. He's not no Devin Haney. Where Devin Haney is 24 years old, he already got all 4 belts. He's going up to challenge Rege Proje at 140. He's doing something with himself. And I know that Devin Haney is kind of like a lackluster kind of champion. You know why? You know what's missing from Devin Haney? The knockout. That's what's missing from Devin Haney's arsenal. If he started knocking dudes out, Devin Haney, people would talk more about him. But I keep telling all the people that we just wait for it. You got to remember, Devin Haney's 24 years old. Devin Haney is, yo, listen, he's gonna come into his man strength. And at the back end of his career, I think he'll have a more impressive, but that stands to be seen yet. But I'm hoping that that's what happens. So as far as like Naoya Inoue and Tank Davis, I mean, that's like a fantasy thing. Like I said, they're just trying to keep Tank Davis, in my opinion. You know, it's a fight that could happen, but Naoya Inoue, let's back it up to reality. He has a lot on his plate already. He's got to fight Tapales, right? He wants to unify, right? And then he got unfinished business with half them dudes that was running their mouth. Now, Naoya Inoue is not letting them dudes get away with this. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be like, listen, he's coming back for them. So, whether he sticks around, I don't think, one of my subscribers has said, and by the way, what's up to all the subscribers? That's AZ, what? My eyes are bad, bro. Luis Pagan. And look at, I thought that they were saying LOL. It's LOI. Yo, my eyes be bad, bro. Yo, but listen, Naoya will be undisputed in 3 divisions before 2024. 2024. Wow, that's possible. That's possible. You know, that's not a stretch within the realm of, you know, no, that's very much achievable. Plus, with this explosion, when all the belts, you guys have noticed that so many guys have been getting like 4 belts now, and they're even one-upping each other. I mean, Terrence Crawford is just coming off and if you got to think about this, right? And you might say to yourself, wow, why are all these guys getting these belts and these champions and this explosion? Now it's easy because look, the difference between Naoya Inoue and a 4-way belt champion and a 4-way belt champion like Devin Haney, we got to keep this in mind. Naoya Inoue got each belt 1 by 1. Devin Haney fought 1 guy and won 3 belts. There's a difference. There's a difference. If you beat Devin Haney right now, you stand to win all 4 belts. You see what I'm saying? So that's what Terrence Crawford just did. Although Terrence Crawford's achievement is good, it's not like Terrence Crawford went to 147 pound and won each belt individually. He didn't do that. He fought 1 guy, Errol Spence Jr., and he won 3 belts. Naoya Inoue won them 1 at a time. Bing, 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 bing. This time, he won 2. And the next time, he's going to get 2 more. So it kind of depends on the timing. You know, it's fortunate that he caught him at that, and he had 3 belts. You know, if they offer you an opportunity, are you gonna say, no, I want to do it nobly. I want to do it 1 belt at a time. No, you're gonna take that fucking opportunity. You're going to go in there, try to knock him out, and get all the belts. If you can, in 1 shot. Just like Lomachenko had his shot against Devin Haney. Had he been successful, he would have won them all 4 belts. So, with this explosion, and I mean, everybody has been one-upping each other. Now, Devin Haney, what was it? July 29th? Errol Spence Jr. and Crawford just fought. He became the first man in boxing history to own all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions. Now, you got to think about that. If boxing has been going on for God knows how long, right? And he's the first man to do this, you got to say that shit can't be easy, right? But the way that they're setting it up, champion fighting champion, the storylines are getting crazy. I mean, Fucking Canelo Alvarez got 4 belts. The Charlo twins got 4 belts. Naoya Inoue had 4 belts. Devin Haney had 4 belts. Uzi got 3 belts. Who else? Who am I missing? Josh Taylor had all 4 belts. Camboza had 3 belts. It was just so many people with multiple belts. So a rare opportunity happens. Now this is like truly hitting a needle in the haystack. I want you to understand how hard this shit is, what I'm about to say. The Charlo twin has all 4 belts at 154. Canelo Alvarez offers to fight his brother. His brother turns down the fight. The other brother at 154, the one that's coached by Derrick James, he says, yo, I'm sick of you, Canelo Alvarez, trying to come down and weight bully everyone, right? You're ducking and dodging everyone in your division. You don't want to fight David Benavidez. You don't want to fight, all he fight, he fought Caleb Plant. Okay, I'll give him that. Caleb Plant's not no bum, but, he's not fighting the top dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like Demetrius Andre. He's not fighting him. So what Canelo did was say, hey, Charlo, you want a shot? But he knew he was out for 2 years. So the Charlo twin said no. And Canelo was like, see, I challenged him. He said no. But the other twin said, yo, I'll take the fight. And then Canelo Alvarez said, you'll take the fight. You'll come up and fight me at 168. He said, yes, right? Check this out. The odds of you already having all 4 belts and finding a guy 2 weight divisions up above you, and that you get a fighter to accept the fight, to fight him for his 4 belts, for the opportunity to be the first man in history to simultaneously hold all 8 belts, right? He will be the first man in history. Okay, so in that moment, if he shall be successful, this is going to be the fucked up part. If he loses, he gets stripped from the WBO. If he wins, he gets stripped from the WBO. The next morning, they're going to honor him as the first person to have all 8 belts. But 9 o'clock that morning, Tim Tszyu's going to be upgraded to the WBO Super Champion. So, and then he'll have to go back down at 154, whoop Tim Tszyu's ass again, and become the second man, which the first man would have been him. He would have done it again and have all 8 belts again, because he would have been stripped of 1. So they would have to give him the second title, the title. Yo, these storylines are ridiculous. They're ridiculous. That's just an achievement. It's like truly like watching Halley's Comet. Halley's Comet passes by, what, every 77 years, right? If you weren't born within a time period, chances are you'll never witness Halley's Comet that comes by out of nowhere. They don't even know where the motherfucker come from. But anyway, that's how rare that shit what the Charlo twin got, the opportunity he got. That's how, it's like finding a unicorn. You know what I'm saying? It's really rare because, just think about it. You didn't vacate. The reason why Terrence Crawford doesn't have that title is because he vacated. He had to run around the division and chase this guy around. You would have to win 4 belts individually or find one guy that has 4. That's why that shit would be hard. You know what I'm saying? Somebody would have to have 4 somewhere else. It's just insane. So, yeah. So, look. Now, Naoya Inoue right now, right? What are you guys saying? Why don't Haney fight? Well, all right. Look, here's the problem. At one point in time, all these guys were set to fight each other, right? Okay. But you also got to keep it in mind that boxing is a global sport, okay? So sometimes the Americans don't want to take out the Americans. Okay? We don't always want to put our American fighters right away to fight against our guy, right? Because you guys got all the other countries competing. So you got Mexicans and the Argentinians, the Ukrainians, the Japanese, and so forth, right? Okay. You don't want the American guys, all the top American guys, to fight themselves. They take each other's out, take each other's O, and then this country comes out of left field, beats this one guy, and walks away with it all. You know what I'm saying? So, strategy wise, no country is going to want you to, they're not putting Naoya Inoue right now to fight Junto Nakatoni, because that wouldn't be smart. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need them, you know what I'm saying, to get pieces of the title and bring it home to represent your country. You see? So the Americans are not stupid. And every time you say, why didn't Tank Davis fight so-and-so, you got to keep it in mind. Who did they fight? Devin Haney took out Loma. Tank Davis took out a few Mexican. The TikTok sensation. A Dominican fighter. You see what I'm saying? Like, they were eliminating all the other guys first before we put our top guys just to knock each other out. Because if I take Shakur Stevenson right now and I put him up against Tank and Devin Haney within the calendar year, what do we got to look forward to? You see? So the Americans, we got to be smart too. We got to make sure that we see what's going on too, because there's a lot of contenders from a lot of other countries that are threatening. And America's team, which I categorize us as a team, Devin Haney, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Bud Crawford, Errol Spence, they're all on America's team. That's America's team right there. Okay, so we're going up against the other countries to make sure that these world titles stay home, stay here. Now, we just lost 2 world titles. Stephen Kubo Fulton just lost two world titles to Naoya Inoue. He took those titles back to Japan, bro. We need, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I love boxing. So it's so competitive. You know what I'm saying? And like, so that's where we're at. You know, we want to see the best fighting the best. But I also keep it in mind that there is a strategy to boxing as well. The Americans do represent America. And when they get belts for American, that means we got X, Y, and Z champions. You see? So that being said, it's a game. You know, it's not a game like that, but it's in the movement of pieces and fighters. You know what I'm saying? You don't want your whole squad to fight against each other like that. No. But when you got like what Errol Spence Jr. did and Terrence Crawford, this is what they did. Both of them cleaned out their division. They cleaned it out. For God's sake, they were taking turns beating up the same guy. Errol Spence fought Sean Porter, then he would fight Porter. He fought Cal Brook, then he fought Cal Brook. You know what I'm saying? Like, they legitimately, the both of them, wiped the division out of everybody where there was no one left. They were looking like, okay, it's me and you. Now, that's when the Americans should fight each other. You know what I'm saying? Right there. Now, what happened to Errol Spence Jr., let's talk about it. And I'm going to keep it 100. Errol Spence Jr. is a product of himself, okay? Because when he got into these multiple car accidents, if you don't recall, he had 2 fights after the car accidents. He fought Ugas and Garcia, right? So he was already fighting, okay? Now, he can say he was in pain. No. It's easy to forget what happened in that night in that car accident. And it's easy for him to slip back into his old behaviors. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence Jr. is a product of what he did. The truth is, someone needed to tell him the truth about himself and would have told him, bro, this is a long time you taking off. He went vacation after vacation after vacation, and he came into that fight a shell of himself. You know what I'm saying? You guys got to admit that he was a shell of himself. He looked way drained. He even looked like he was high. Did you see how his eyes were like this? He looked like he was high. You know what that's caused from? Dehydration. You know, not being able to make the weight and what they put him through. Oh, and it's no secret. Remember on the first weight try, because champions get 2 times to make weight, he failed the first time. So they gave him more time and he did some IV shit or whatever they're saying he did. So he was really killing himself to make the weight. So Errol Spence Jr., man, he really backed himself into a bad situation. He got a rude awakening. You know, this is what happens in the sport of boxing when you're not committed. You know, you were great at one point and you still are great. But you have to maintain that momentum of excellence. You just can't cut that excellence off for 2 years and turn it right back on. It doesn't work that way. You know, so Errol Spence Jr. had to find out the hard way. Now, a lot of people are making excuses for the man, but I will make no excuses. I know what I saw with my 2 eyes, and I know a man that was trying. Errol Spence Jr. was trying to fight him. He couldn't get his body to respond. His body it wasn't, the twitch muscles weren't working. He didn't feel fast. He felt like he had cement in his shoes. Everything must have felt slow. Yo, I've been there, bro. I have been there, man. Okay? Where that, yo, no matter what you try to do, it's like, and to be honest with you, is because of your preparation and your what you did. What you put in the gym is what you're gonna get out. He took way too long off of 2 years to come back to fight the #1 guy in the world at that time. You know, whether he was #1 or #2, he's the best fucking fighter, right? And a lot of boxing people called it. A lot of boxing people called it. You know, Tank Davis said, yo, who you think's gonna win if Terrence Crawford goes into the fight with an armored shield and another guy goes in with a glass shield? Who's gonna win? And he was saying that Terrence Crawford was gonna walk through Errol Spence Jr. Everybody was like, yeah, right. Tank Davis lost his mind, right? That nigga couldn't have been more right. You know what I'm saying? He was on point. You know, so yeah. Do I think Errol Spence Jr. is done? Do I think he should take the rematch? Hell the fuck no. Do I think he should take a rematch at 154? For what? For what? Rematch at 154 for what? Or they not fighting for no belts at 154? So there's no belts there. It's only pride now. Errol Spence Jr. wants to get it back. What I really think he should do is I think he needs not to take a break or go on a vacation. I really think he needs to look himself in the mirror and be mad at himself and go to the gym with all those lumps on your face and start training. Let them see you with them lumps on your face. Accept what you let happen. Be mad at yourself, Errol Spence Jr. Train fucking harder like a gladiator, bro. Let this fight go by for a year or so. Relive it. Terrence Crawford will fight you again. You know why? Because he's going to think it's going to be a little harder, but I'll beat him again because it was just that easy. Was it me or did Terrence Crawford look very comfortable in that ring against? And yo, it wasn't even like he gave him a challenge. Yo, for God's sake, the white dude that he fought, Terrence Crawford, before he fought Errol Spence Jr., that he knocked him out in 6th round, where his gloves popped open, that dude gave him a better fight. If I'm being honest, you know? So, look, what I think is, you know, Errol Spence Jr. needs to just let that go back and train, get a couple fights on the 154, get acclimated to the division. His stablemate is scheduled to fight Canelo Alvarez. So if he's successful, he might get all those belts. But to be honest, I don't want to live in fantasy land. Canelo Alvarez is not stupid. And Canelo Alvarez has been doing this almost his entire career. He's been accused of being a weight bully for a long time. He's very smart about what he does, but he doesn't make you take the fight. You gotta take the fight. So although you want to call him a weight bully, motherfucker, he didn't put a gun to your head. He didn't tell you to sign the contract. But a Canelo fight, no one's gonna turn that shit down. That's like hitting the fucking lottery. If you fight Canelo, you know, he's the fucking highest paid. You know what I'm saying? That's like a lottery fight. So I wouldn't turn it down neither. But all right. Interesting fact. Naoya Inoue weighed in to fight Stephen Kubo Fulton. He weighed in 121 pounds. Stephen Kubo Fulton weighed in exactly 122 pounds. On the night of the fight, Stephen Kubo Fulton weighed 128 pounds. Naoya Inoue weighed 121 pounds. On the night of the fight. That nigga didn't gain a pound. You know what I'm saying? Because he's moving up in weight. Okay, is that going to happen to the Charlo twin? He's moving up to 168. On the night of the night on the weigh-in, they both weigh in at 168. On the night of the fight, Canelo Alvarez is going to come into that fight, what? 175? At least 175. What will the Charlo twin come in at? Will he lose a pound overnight? Because he's already maxing out. I don't think he has to cut weight to make this fight. He just got to gain weight, right? So he ain't cutting no weight. Then what he has to do is kind of trick his body into saying, I've been fighting at this weight. You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to look good in the first half of the fight. But there's a possibility that carrying that extra weight is going to weigh him down. And Canelo Alvarez is... When is Canelo Alvarez the most dangerous in a fight? When is he the most dangerous in a fight? In the second half of the fight. I mean, he's dangerous all around, but if he has you hurt, he's going to fuck you up. But he's real dangerous at the end, at the second half, too. You know, he carries his power through the whole... Canelo Alvarez carries his power the entire 12 rounds. The entire 12 rounds, he carries his power. He's proven it, okay? So... if the Charlo starts to slow down, he starts to hit him in the body, and he slows Jermell Charlo down by the 7th round, and he starts to slow down, Canelo's going to catch up to him. Canelo's going to catch up to him, to the Charlo twin, and he's going to put him out. Listen, Canelo is at the tail end of his career. He's old, but what he's lacked and what he's lost a step. Canelo's not the fighter he once was, you know, a few years ago. Canelo's not that fighter anymore. But what he is a more experienced fighter. And sometimes experience can cover for the step that you lost. You know, you might not be that much faster than you once were, but your experience and being quicker to the punch, and it's the punch you don't see. So Canelo Alvarez understands all that. And if you don't think that Canelo Alvarez is a great ring technician, you're sadly mistaken. Just because he doesn't have Floyd Mayweather skills or Naoya Inoue skills and he don't look like these guys and he's not as slick, doesn't mean that he doesn't understand what's happening in the ring and in the time and in the moment. Canelo Alvarez is really good when it comes to those kind of situations. He could read the room. Is what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? And he's a very skilled fighter. But he's just not an elite fighter anymore. He's getting older. What is he, 37 now? He's like 37, somewhere around there. He's entering 38. So he's somewhere around there. So, you know, yeah, he's got a couple more fights, and I see him hanging up the gloves. You know, Canelo. Yeah, well, Fulton's team is not going to apologize because the American cocky brash guys, some of us realize their error of their ways, and some of us are just stubborn in their ways. I think Stephen Kubo Fulton as a person right now is hurting, but his coach is upset that he is no longer coaching the champion of the world, the two-time champion of the world. And when you have a man like that they're not looking backwards once they get in the gym. They're looking forward. And their arrogance can be misconstrued for ignorance. He's not even thinking about an apology. He doesn't feel like he owes one. He's just thinking on the next fight. That's a coach for you. You know, he doesn't think of things probably morally, you know, like the Japanese people do. You know what I'm saying? So if he's being a dick about it and he understands it, well, then he's being a fucking dick then, right? But I do see where that a lot of coaches, after a loss or whatever, there were moments that a guy comes back and looks back and says, man, I apologize for this. I should have said this in the moment. But as fighters and as coaches, they're just looking ahead. And I don't even think he caught on that he owes them an apology. I think he really thinks he brought up a valid point. Oh, he's got these reps, you know, and ba 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 ba, right? Okay. Which, listen, look, guys, I'm going to tell you about this wrap thing, and I'm going to get this clear right now, right? If you were to wrap your hand in a cast, and you was to make it this big with a cast, he wouldn't be able to close his hand right. You don't want that. You don't want your hand to be like this inside of the fucking glove and that you're hitting the guy like that where that you can't close your hand right. You want less, right? You want a nice amount, but you want it to be flexible so that your pinky grips the corner of your hand. Let me teach you something if you don't know this. The strongest, what makes your fist the strongest part of your hand, right? Try making a fist, right? Your pinky is 80% of your fist. Try making a fist without your pinky. Go like that. How strong is your fist without your pinky? Right? Now take your pinky and go like this. Now make a fist. Right? How much stronger did your fist just get? Right? Your pinky needs to be flexible in that hand. With a cast, just a little bit of tape on this part right here won't let you make a fist. That's why I knew that shit was bullshit. You wouldn't want that. You know what I'm saying? Fighters like Marquez and Margarito, what they did was he cheated and he put that rap stuff, but to really no avail. Because if you ask him later in his career what that did to his knuckles, it probably wasn't even worth it. He fucked himself up more than fucking the dude up. All right? So, after those fights, he couldn't fight for fucking 18 months. All of a sudden, in the gym, he got an injury. No, it was his hands. So, it doesn't really work out good for you because you got to remember, your hands are inside of that stuff. It's not like you got to, when you punch somebody with rings, that crushes your hands. You know what I'm saying? It's not like this is metal where it's a brass knuckle and it stays. This is also flexible and it's pounding on your hand. Man, you're not going to want that. You're not going to want that. So I was like, look, this is bullshit. Okay, and then what I told you was I was being sarcastic in the video when I said, he asked Fulton's teams to wrap his hand. That's just a sarcastic statement. But in actuality, what happened was he wrapped his hands while Fulton's team was in the room. But they were already going to be in the room. On a championship fight, that's what happens all the time. Every time a champion fights another champion, both coaches are in the room with the guy that's wrapping your hands, a person from the boxing commission, probably somebody from every belt, right? And the referee. They're always in the same room. So that's why I said he could have addressed that behind the scenes because he was going to be in the same room anyway. You know what I'm saying? And let's just keep this funky. That Naoya Inoue, all he had to do was say, you know what? Fuck you. I want to wrap my hands the way the Japan rules state. And there was nothing Stephen Kubo Fulton could have did. But he was a good competitor. He said, you know what? How do you guys want me to wrap him? Stephen Kubo Fulton told the guy that was wrapping Naoya Inoue's hand, we would like it this way, this way, this way, and this way. That's exactly the way they wrapped him. That's how he knocked him out. Just like that. You know? What's up, Zero? I see you. Chang? Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's what was happening in these events. And if you want to even further my point, okay, on what this is status, after the Naoya Inoue fight, Stephen Kubo Fulton takes his gloves off in the middle of the ring. They got him on camera. If you can get a video of that fight and watch it till when he takes off his hand wraps and the guy from the boxing commission is standing right there. The black dude with the blue jacket on. He hands him the hand wraps and he walks off. That's what happens after every fight. So if he had something in his hands, in his hand wraps, that guy was gonna take him right then and there. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, wow, for him to get away with this right now, because when fighters got caught with that shit way back in the days, a lot of these rules were implemented for shit like that don't never happen. Bro, you could really kill someone like that. You could cause permanent brain damage. You know what I'm saying? You could take somebody's life. You could take years off a person's life. Yo, with those kind of raps, now Naoya Inoue, I think, took away 4 months off Stephen Kubo Fulton's life by that knockout. He took a good 4 months. You know, that left hook, that last one, cool, he sat him. Yo, he might, but when David Benavidez fought Caleb Plant, David Benavidez took a few years, just like Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford, right? Terrence Crawford took 2-3 years off of Errol Spence Jr.'s life. No, and I'm not even joking when I say that. I'm not being sarcastic. Like, he legitimately took a few years off that man's life. That's why they get paid all these millions of dollars. You know, you look at, fighters, Muhammad Ali's, and a lot of those fighters. Listen, let me tell you something. Boxing is an ugly sport. And what you see sometimes when you see Roy Jones and Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather talk, those are the guys that did it the best. They got hit the fewest, right? And they were able to keep their senses. What you don't see are the people that can't hold the microphone no more, that are shaking like this. Those old fighters, you be seeing them sometimes show up and Showtime be like, cut, cut, cut. Don't bring him back, because he's sitting there going like this. Look at George Foreman right now. George Foreman's like this now too. Bro, these guys are getting the shit. Yo, the human body is not designed to get your face punched in. Your brain is smacking around in there. Everything is fucking getting damaged. You're damaging your neural sensors, your equilibrium, what gives you balance. You're getting trashed. And then fighters don't know when you become chinny. That's when a fighter, well, a good fighter, he could take a punch. Damn, you're his whole career. Oh, man, you can hit this guy. He's just not going down. And one day he has a fight, and one guy and he goes down. He became chinny. No one knows when that happens. No fighter, it's not like there's a time clock to every fight, but eventually that starts to happen to fighters. Look what happened to Roy Jones Jr., right? He had an entire career. No one could knock him out. This guy comes over with an overhand hook. It didn't even look that hard. And knocks him out cold. He became chinny later on in his career. It happens to the best of us. So, when you got like these situations in fighters, you want to captivate in the moments. And when you want to captivate in the moments, Naoya Inoue he's 29 years old. He's a 4-division world champion. He's got over 20-something titles under his belt. Mind you, he's never in his life fought for an interim title. Okay? Once he won a real world title, the rest of those 20 fights consecutively have all, in one way or another, been for a world title, right? Which is pretty impressive. See, fighters like Manny Pacquiao, they got a lot of interim titles. There's a lot of big fighters that, Canelo Alvarez has a few interim titles. For God's sake, he's the creator of the franchise, isn't he? The WBC franchise title. They made that for Canelo Alvarez in the sport. For God's sake, he branded his own belt. Okay? So A lot of fighters that are big fighters have their names attached to interim titles. You see what I'm saying? The one thing that I find about Naoya Inoue very special is that his name is not attached to no interim titles. They've all been real world titles. They've all been real world titles. So that's impressive. You know, that's pretty impressive in itself. So, like, when you got these guys, and like I'm saying, he's 29 years old, look how far he's accomplished, and then we look at a fighter like Tank Davis, and we could obviously see his skill. We can obviously see he's a great freaking fighter, Tank Davis. We obviously, that freaking knockout, that knockout when he knocked him out in, oh my God, he knocked him out in front of his dad. He had, that was crazy, bro. That was a crazy night. So we know what he could do, but he's 29 years old. Naoya Inoue is 29 years old. Okay? Naoya Inoue is a 4-division world champion. He has 20-something more belts. Tank Davis is 29, and he only got one real world title. And that's what I mean. It's not that, he just didn't fight these dudes. I don't know, man. And you could tell that he's very talented. He's very good. I like Tank Davis, bro. I think he's a fucking amazing. I think that little dude can fucking crack, bro. And he's really smart. I think he's a lot smarter than what they give him credit for. He's really good. But he just hasn't put together a legendary resume. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to suck on the day you retire. You might say, yo, man, I made mad money. I didn't have to get the belts. Fuck the belts. I got the money. I fought this. I did this. I fought over here. I made this much money. I'm paid. But, who would be a Shakur Stevenson? Shakur Stevenson right now can turn around and look at Tank Davis and said, I've accomplished more than you. Right now. Shakur Stevenson had 3 belts at 130. So, like, I don't know. It's either you chasing the money or the legacy. In today's era, it's all about money. Look at what's going on with this Paul kid, whatever his name is. You know what I'm saying? Fought Nick Diaz or whatever, right? Look at all money. That's money fight, right? Which I'm cool with. Get your money, boo-boo. I ain't got nothing against you. I'm not going to hate on you. If you're getting paper like that, baby, I respect it because there's way better fighters that are not making that kind of money. I'm going to keep it funky, right? So he's making that kind of money off rip, all right? So good for you. But, like, if I was to, sit back and say, yo, Tank Davis, my man, like, you chased the money, cool. You got paid. But what about you and your legacy? And what about belts, bro? Don't you want to be remembered as, like, didn't you get in this game to be legendary? Didn't you want to go down as, like, one of the best? What's going to stop you from being in the conversation with going down with some of the best fighters in the world is that you don't have the rings. You don't got the rings. If you don't got the rings, then I'm sorry, Dan Marino, you can't talk with Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? If you don't got the fucking rings and the accolades in your craft, in your sport, then why are you in the sport? Okay, like I said, we could go back and forth this all day. Get money. Cool, I understand. Tank Davis, get money, bro. But he just doesn't have a legacy. And it seemed like the powers that be, Floyd Mayweather, was content with that. He was like, look on my little nigga. I'm going to take you under my wing, right? And we going to get money, right? And I'm going to get you paid. I'm just not going to put you in a position to get more belts than me. You know what I'm saying? And the truth of the matter is, people want to see you do good. If you're doing bad in your life and the people come around, they always tell you, yo, man, I wish you're doing good, man. I hope you're the best. Your friends and family want to see you do good, just not better than them. And that happens, bro. People want to see you do good. And everybody, when you're down and out, everybody's giving you those pep talks. Come on, man, get up, dust yourself off. We want to see you do good in life, right? Yeah, they want to see you do good, just not better than them. And when you start to pass them, that's when people start to turn on you. And I think that they didn't really set him up in a manager position to gain a lot of titles because somebody didn't want to get passed. I don't know, man. I don't know because the kid's mad talented. I just don't get it. And the fact that Devin Haney and all these dudes came up at the same era, and Teofimo Lopez, they all got belts. Teofimo Lopez got belts. Fucking Lomachenko got belts. Devin Haney got belts. Shakur Stevenson got belts. But Tank Davis got one belt? What the fuck happened? What did he do? He woke up and he was here. And I was like, oh shit, yo, look at this. You know, it was all exciting. We didn't give a fuck. He was knocking people out. I was, hey, Tank Davis, yeah. But and then when I stopped and I looked and I was like, what the fuck did he do? Who the fuck did he fight? I was like, holy shit. I mean, it was an exciting run, but you know, he now needs, he's 29, bro. He needs to step it up, bro. He needs to start fighting some people. And this motherfucker's holding up the division, Devin Haney. He's fighting Regis Prograis at 140. And if he knocks out or beats Regis Prograis, whatever way, he doesn't have to knock him out. He probably go 12-round decision, right? But if he beats him, I can see him vacating the 4 belts and they're going to scatter. And the people that are going to... the people that are going to fight for the belt right off the rip, right? It's going to be Lomachenko, Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and I think Eastside Pitbull Cruz just fought a title eliminator for one of the belts. So if he vacates, those are going to be the 4 guys that are going to fight for those 4 belts and get a crack at him first. You know Lomachenko's been crying, so he's going to get a crack at the WBC because he's connected with the WBC. The WBA, Tank Davis is already the interim champion for the WBA, so he already gets a crack at the WBA, okay? And then the IBF... The IBF is interesting, right? Because Shakur Stevenson is in with the WBO because that was one of his best belts. He's in with the WBO, right? In which they did strip him at the end. The WBO was the one that stripped him. So I thought that he had #1 status from coming from that division to this division. So I think that he has an in there. I'm not sure if he'll fight for it or the IBF. Whichever one he fights for, he'll get eventually. Okay, because he's a good fighter. So, and then that's what happened. And then we'll see if the Lomachenkos fight with the Tank Davises finally. And the fucking Shakur Stevenson fights with the Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? And so forth and so forth. And you got fighters like Frank the Ghost Martin in the division. You got still Ali Rivera still threatening. You got Jamie Ortiz in the division. So there's a lot of good fighters in the 135 division that when he vacates all those belts, those fighters are going to come for those belts. You know, so we stand to see it. Now, talking and touching up at the end, because I want to wrap this video up. But Naoya Inoue is scheduled to fight, rumored, in December, right? And Canelo Alvarez scheduled this fight against the Charlo twin quick. Yo, tell me if what did you say there, Zero? The UFC pays their fighter crap. Yeah. That's it's a shit show. It's nowhere near boxing. And the thing and the reason why is because boxers realize that fighting for that long, a 10-year span, a 15-year career, a 20-year career, you know what I'm saying? These fighters come out at the end, they're never the same. You took years off those men's lives. Marvelous Hagler died at the age he died. He lived a good life, but at the end, the way he lived, he died young. Marvelous Hagler died fairly young in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? It's like the boxers, they're not gonna. You're literally taking years off their lives, man. You know what I'm saying? So to reward that, they say, hey, here's $13 million. Go to Disney World, right? If all fighters made that, right? Because there's only a small percentage of the fighters, first of all, that are making that kind of money. Okay? Not even Devin Haney's making $13 million right now. I don't even think Devin Haney made over $5 million in his last fight when he fought Lomachenko. I don't know if it was like 8 or 5 million. Lomachenko got 3. You know what I'm saying? So he's not, to keep it funky, Devin Haney's not even making that kind of money. You know what I'm saying? The only fighters right now that are making that kind of money is Tank Davis, and Canelo Alvarez is leading the way. Canelo Alvarez, they just offered him and he turned down $55 million guaranteed. Canelo Alvarez turned down $55 million guaranteed. That means if he would have said yes, that money had to been in his bank account before he starts training for the fight. So he already gets paid. Canelo Alvarez. Okay, that's how that works when it says guarantee. When they're not saying guarantee, that's when they got to tally up ticket sales. And then if you're fighting on pay-per-view, you get one pay-per-view drop, big lump sum, and then you get what they call a drip. It comes off the back end. Like, other people coming in late days later, still buying the pay-per-view. And you'll see money from that, but it'll be less and less every time until you're just not getting anything. And that's how pay-per-view works. You get one big bulk and at front, and then you get what they call a drip. And like every 30 days or something, you'll get a check. And that's how pay-per-view works. So, and then your fight money is it's not like an NFL contract or a baseball contract where that you see a baseball player, Patrick Mahomes, signed $100 million contract, right? But I don't know if he'll ever stand to make all that money, right? Because it depends on how much of that contract is guaranteed and then how much is incentives, meaning he has to throw so many touchdowns, so many yards, and so forth to get the rest of that money off bonuses. So in boxing, it's sort of like that. Boxing, they tell you, okay, we're fighting for $5 million, right? Then all of a sudden, they say at the gate, they didn't sell that much tickets. All of a sudden, you're not getting $5 million. You might get one. And you're like, yo, what the fuck, right? So that's happened in the sport of boxing, right? So to alleviate that, some fighters have things, incentives and things in their contracts, and they have what they call guaranteed money. Guaranteed money is exactly what it means. Guaranteed. If you told me you were giving me $30 million for the fight, well, then have that $30 million in my bank account, and I'll start training leading up into the fight. But until that money's not in my bank account, I don't start training. That's how that goes. They offered Canelo Alvarez $55 million guaranteed to fight David the Monster Benavidez. He turned it down. That nigga said no. And he went and fought Triple G for the third time for $13 million. He turned down 55 to go fight for 13. But he's not ducking nobody. Canelo's not ducking nobody. No. He's the greatest champion in the world. Yeah. Bullshit. He's fucking ducking him, bro. But if you could turn down $55 million, then that means that Canelo Alvarez made $13 million, but he's got lucrative endorsements behind the scene that he was probably walking away from that fight with anywhere between 27 and 30-something million dollars. This fight might have been signed for $13 million, but through all his endorsements and because he fights for those titles, he stands to make millions in other ways. You know what I'm saying? When he fights, that's not his only source. And he was getting pay-per-view money. So his check went up substantially. You know what I'm saying? Canelo Alvarez, he makes money. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So that's basically what I have today. I think that, truth be told, Naoya Inoue, his last 5 performances. His last 5 matches, Naoya Inoue has knocked out all last of his 5 opponents, where that Terrence Crawford knocked out 2. It's like, you know, I just think that Naoya Inoue is a very skilled fighter. I'm glad to be around to watch him fight. I'm honored to see a man so skilled like that show us what it really means. And you got a man that's talented and he uses his talent. There's nothing better. So I appreciate and I applaud his work as a boxer and what he brings to the table. I appreciate it, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's very interesting to watch. He's very exciting, very explosive, and he takes care of business. And when you see one of his fights, like, I was, this last fight, I'm watching the fight, right? And you're going to get that wow moment. I told you, you're going to get it. It's more than likely either way. And, the good thing about him, his chin has already been tested in his career. Sometimes fighters go throughout their career and their chin really never got tested like a Roy Jones Jr. And then when he finally got cracked, he didn't hold up so well. You know what I'm saying? Monster, what? ah. Luis Pagan. Hey, when is Andy Cruz? Andy Cruz fighting next. Chat, I'm laughing out loud. Keyshawn Davis better put some what? Lewis said Keyshawn Davis better put what? We all should be. Yeah, we should be purpose watching fight, man. He's really an honor. It was like a Sugar Ray Leonard, watching a Sugar Ray Leonard by his time. Mayweather was a real interesting fighter, and he was elite. He just, at the end of his career, he didn't bring his power with him, and that's what took away from his, his aura. Had Mayweather been knocking people out like Naoya Inoue, then Mayweather would be Naoya Inoue. That's what he would be then. That's crazy, right? So, because Naoya Inoue, that's what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? You can have something really good in a sport. You could have something really good, but it could be missing something. It could be missing that one thing that you need to catapult you there, right? Like, for instance, the WNBA, women's basketball. Shaquille O'Neal's daughter plays women's basketball, right? And Shaquille O'Neal got on one of those podcasts and he said, he came up, I thought it was brilliant. Shaquille O'Neal said, what the women's WNBA is, they have the pass, they got the shoot, they got the three-pointer, they got everything. They got the dribbling, the handling. The only thing they're missing is the dunk. He said, in women's volleyball and men's volleyball, the net is lowered just a smidge so that the women can spike the ball to bring the spike. He said if you was to lower the rim just a little bit, the women can dunk and they'll be boom, boom. And I believe that the game would be more exciting for them, right? Because that's all they're missing is the dunk. Yo, you give these girls, they got the dribble, they got the three, they shit talking, they got the passes. Yo, they're doing everything. They just missing the dunk. Once these girls start throwing layups and this chick catching cock back, boom, on the first person and posterize, yo, the women's NBA is going to go crazy. But for some reason, they don't want to accept it. I don't know. And sometimes in some fighters' careers, some fighters are missing that one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, case in point, Stephen Kubo Fulton. He was missing power, and we all fucking knew it. We all knew Stephen Kubo Fulton didn't have that kind of power. But yet, somehow, he was going to knock out Naoya Inoue. Somehow, he was going to beat him in a 12-round decision. And then when it happens, and Naoya Inoue, it was the 5th round, I noticed he he no longer respected Stephen Kubo Fulton's power. He took what he was going to take. I think it was the third round. I think it was that Naoya Inoue was doing the Philly Shell's defense. He was doing his own style on him, right? And Stephen Kubo Fulton tried to come in with a jab, and Naoya Inoue went like that to him. He went like, "Come on, bro. You can't even hit my face. I'm like right here. You ain't even doing nothing, bro." And at that point right there in the fight, I noticed that the fight really changed. Naoya Inoue started opening up. He was starting to open up. He was putting for God's sake, 4-piece combinations together, 4 5-piece combinations, and Fulton was fighting back, like I said. Real bro, he wasn't just a punching bag. Fulton was catching Naoya, and what I struck really good was Fulton's timing, right? Fulton, if Naoya Inoue stepped slightly like this, Fulton would snap his head back with that jab. He would catch him. But Naoya Inoue is such a smart fighter that if you hit him with that one punch, it's going to be hard to hit him the second time with that punch. Because he knows what he gave you. And he's going to take that away from you. So now Stephen Kubo Fulton had to find another angle to hit him with the jab. And by the time he figured another angle out, he was getting his ass whooped. And those punches were weighing on him. Naoya Inoue, he pitched a shutout. He really, really, in layman's term, shut Stephen Kubo Fulton down. And he shut the best version of Stephen Kubo Fulton down. It wasn't like he got a depleted fighter. It wasn't like he's coming off 2 car accidents. It's not like he's coming off a 2-year hiatus. No, he got an active, current champion of the world. Undefeated. I kept ignoring the fact that the battery kept saying charge, charge, but I didn't want to stop talking to get up to walk to the other side of the room to get the charger. And then the phone was like, "Okay, motherfucker, I told you your battery was dying." It turned off. Yo, sorry about that, guys. So I tap back into the live real quick. So without further ado, I'm on to the next one. Peace, everyone. Thank you for streaming into the live stream. One. Right? Let's end it, right?